Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. Today I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about the poem that I posted last on my YouTube channel and also on my Instagram. If you are following me there, I'm sure you've seen it by now. Thank you for all the love and support everyone has given me on this channel and on my Instagram. It means so much to hear that people like the content I'm producing, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is really just vlogger style, sitting on my bed because I just wanted to film a quick video. My dog's literally eating her foot in the corner. Hey, do you want to stop doing that? Thank you. It's nice. Okay. Literature is a huge part of my life. I love to read, I love to write. Part of my favorite thing to do as of lately is writing spoken word poems. So what I want to do is kind of explain where I'm at with this poem, what this poem means, what it represents, and do a bit of a disclaimer because I know I haven't gotten negative feedback on it, but it is quite a touchy subject. The video title is Can I Have My Body Back? And basically it talks about the societal pressures of altering our bodies to look a certain way or never truly being satisfied with ourselves if we don't get cosmetic procedures. It's kind of the root of it. And I wanted to do a disclaimer and then also talk kind of stanza by stanza and feed you guys little nuggets that you may have missed on the poem, because that's always fun for me when I discover reading a favorite poet or author's work and discover little gems of what the author intended to say. Part of the fun is you figuring out how you feel about it, but I also think it's fun to hear from an author's experience. So the quick disclaimer I wanted to give is I'm not criticizing plastic surgery in this video. I do talk about people altering their bodies with cosmetic procedures, but it's not to shame people who've had work done. And if you've seen some of my previous videos like Celebrities Stop Lying About Plastic Surgery, whatever that is, you would know that I'm very pro-choice of cosmetic procedures. I think no one has the place to judge what someone's had done because you don't know what they're living through day to day, you don't know their insecurities, so I'm not criticizing that. And if you can afford to get plastic procedures and you want to, all power to you, because it's your body and you get to do whatever you want with it. I've rambled a lot about this and the disclaimer. I also want to talk about why I wrote this. So I think back in September or October, I was sitting scrolling through social media and this girl's body popped up. It was like a before and after of her body, and her before picture, she was quite lean, kind of the idealistic body type of the early 2000s. I'm talking like a Twiggy standard body type. Conventionally attractive, but she got ribs removed, breast implants, a Brazilian lift, stuff done to her face, just all these procedures. And she was already so beautiful before, and that doesn't take away from her beauty now. But in my head, I was thinking, how can we ever love ourselves and love our bodies when people who look gorgeous before aren't even satisfied with themselves and feel like they need to alter it? Especially for those who can't afford to get cosmetic surgery procedures. Really, it's for people of upper middle class, rich elitists, those type of people can afford to get procedures, but the everyday person can't. So how damaging is it that we look up to people who essentially look perfect, because I know it's their jobs. They essentially look perfect and it's hard for people to meet those standards. That's what inspired me to write it. It's no shade to that influencer. And so that's when I thought of the idea, can I have my body back? Because when you grow up in a patriarchal society or a misogynistic society, women's bodies don't primarily belong to them. And I mean, that dates back since the beginning of time, quite obviously. So I wanted to write a collective experience of female presenting bodies, not just my own. Some of them are personal and anecdotal, and we'll get into that. And some of them are just stories that I feel like need to be told. Obviously want to tell them in the most respectful way due to my positionality, but yeah, let's start. Okay, so the beginning of the poem, when I say they're all looking at you as you walk by in a tight little dress that invites the wandering eyes, I wrote that because of the male gaze and of the spectatorship of female bodies. Because have you ever worn a tight dress? It doesn't even have to be short, but a tight dress Have you ever walked by in public and noticed people staring at you? Sometimes like you don't think what you're putting on people are gonna look at you that way. Like if I walk into the store with yoga pants, sometimes I throw, for my own sake of modesty, I know other people don't care and that's your choice and that's totally fine, but I always like to put on like a jacket because I hate knowing when I walk by someone's checking out my butt. It just makes me feel uncomfortable because it's unwanted attention. Like it's my body, my choice. I get to wear what I want to wear and I'm not asking for it. So I kind of wrote it within that mindset and wanted to make it almost like a little rap. Do you have it? Like they're all looking to see if you have an ass. Because if you're wearing a short little tight dress, it's going to show your figure. So out of my own personal experience and just knowing what happens when women wear or female presenting bodies wear stuff like that, you get attention. And so I thought that was interesting and I kind of wanted to include it. And also the societal expectations to have thigh gaps. Do your hips lack a dip? I remember when I first realized that I have a hip dip. And then give me voluptuous breasts on a thin pretty chest no smaller than a C. I wrote those lines as well because we have these expectations of women to have voluptuous breasts but still be petite around the chest and waist area. And really that's a difficult thing to do. And also just the idea of people being able to shake their ass because some people can't and that's okay, you know? Anyways, the next part I realized could be controversial because I am in full support of people who want to get nose jobs or any type of plastic surgery, but I was more so trying to prove a point of this is what your ancestors gave you, these are the features your ancestor gave you. Not to say that if you're unhappy with your nose you can't get it surgery, and who am I to say that that's wrong, you know? So I'm not saying that. I was more so wanting to make the tie between ancestral traits and the erasure of cultures. The same thing goes for colored eye contacts. I think it's because there's a statistic that only 4% of the world population has blue eyes and like 1 to 2% has green eyes. So to me it's saying the less common feature in the world is the more desirable feature because it's more unique, I guess. When you grow up in America, you see a ton, like it's not unique, you see a ton of people with blue eyes, blonde hair, all those things. But it just makes me sad when people feel like their eye color isn't beautiful because all eye colors are beautiful. I wanted to throw in the idea of CRISPR. My friend Brooke Patterson, shout out to you Brooke, told me about CRISPR years ago. I found the idea of CRISPR super fascinating, how you can modify DNA sequences and genetics to alter features on, I guess, phenotypes on people. I just found that to be incredible. And the fact that you can do it for health reasons, so things to like prevent cancer, I think is important if people have long lines of history with cancer. But what also is scary is the fact that people want to do it to make their babies look desirable in the way that upholds westernized beauty standards. So that's why I threw in the unborn baby's DNA sequence to reference CRISPR if anybody got that. The next stanza, or the next couple lines, I wanted to talk about culture vultures or cultural appropriation. In my opinion, I think it is a super prominent issue in our culture today. When a dominant hegemonic majority takes features from other parts of other races and other cultures as their own, it suddenly becomes beautiful. We see it with Kylie Jenner and the Kardashians taking features that aren't necessarily belonging to them and putting them on themselves and having it be beautiful. I just think it's wrong personally, and everyone has and is entitled to their own opinion, but I just think if it ends up hurting someone, like why would you do it? The idea of exoticizing and fetishizing someone I also felt like was really interesting. I just feel like people should have the choice whether they want to be modest or show more skin. There's nothing wrong with that. Either side, whatever empowers you. But I also feel like there's this pressure to post, I don't know, because of influencers maybe who post photos in lingerie or bikini pictures. I kind of feel like there's this pressure to show off your body on social media because that's what's more successful and that's what's going to make you successful on Instagram. Like, society today feeds off of external affirmations from other people instead of getting it from ourselves. Because of social media has created a place where you get affirmations from other people and you rely on that. So this next part was true. When I was 14, another student did tell my brother, which is so random, how she thought I was cool because I had big boobs, but I was mixed race. Yeah, that was kind of weird to hear at 14 years old, that people were aware of your chest size, because I was always super insecure about my chest size being so young and having big boobs. I think that it's like a little unsettling, especially because you get sexualized a lot more. Not saying that you don't if you have smaller chest, but just having big boobs as a young girl can be really hard. This war on our bodies starts at a very young age, so I thought it was important to put in. The next line, also very personal for me. I don't want to go into too much detail just out of respect for this person, but they asked me, I was in a 7-Eleven and my friend asked me, like, what happened, Rachel? You have a flat. And it's a little bit of a trigger warning for people. I know that's not easy to hear, especially if you have a similar experience. Again, I was inspired to write these lines from that influencer who literally got ribs removed to have a smaller waist. Ribs that are meant to protect you. And then this idea of aesthetics and perfectionism combined. People like myself are so obsessed with achieving perfection that when you can't, it kind of eats you up alive. And so I wanted to throw in this idea of perfection that everyone strives for in society. All the next lines are kind of self-explanatory. I wanted to talk about how getting procedures done can be quite addicting because you're getting these enhancements and it's exciting and you're, you know, changing yourself up, but at what point are you doing it for the right reasons? Because you feel like you really need to get this done, or just feeling like you're addicted to the feeling of being a new person, essentially. Also, when I say let's pretend it's natural in order to feel something, you celebrities know who you are. You do. You know. I can't imagine how hard it would be to be in the limelight, is that what they say? And feel like you can't be honest about the work you've had done, but that's their job, to look like they're beyond perfection. And so I think it would be beneficial if more celebrities told the truth in terms of the procedures they've had done. I made a video about it. If you want to see, I will link it up there. But yeah, I think it would be beneficial to society if celebrities were more honest, because there's a lot of celebrities who lie and say that they're all natural. We know it's not the case, and it's not because we want to make them feel bad about themselves. It's because their influence impacts other people on such a great level that I don't think a person can even conceptualize. So if we all are a little bit more honest, like some influencers are, like, it would just lift the veil of secrecy and people wouldn't feel like they're less than or not worthy. Because like I always say by J. Cole, no such thing as a life that's better than yours. Yeah, I can't sing, so there you go. Trends change, but we'll remember the feeling. I wrote based off of Kylie Jenner and the lip filler phenomenon that has infiltrated the hearts of many people. And the feeling of thin lips kissing a boy for the first time, I don't know where I've read this, but I heard that Kylie Jenner got lip injections, or told people she did, because her first kiss with a boy, the boy told her she had really thin lips, which, how grotesque of someone to say that to a person who can't help the way that they were made. The feeling of thin lips kissing a boy for the first time, can I get what Kylie has? Because I'm sure she's not alone in that experience. I'm sure other people have struggled with feeling like their lips are too thin, or someone has told them something like that. So that's a little fun caveat for you guys, a little pop culture in there. People often romanticize the feeling of skinniness, almost sickly, to the point where it is dangerous. So the whole craze of collarbones and feeling your ribs, but also wanting to have big and a big ass. It's so complicated because we want to have this ideal body type that really doesn't exist. So with that being said, I started saying copy, copy, cardboard copy. We cut out molds of what women should be, all designed by a rich, grotesque man who sets the standards of ideal femininity. I put that in there because it's literally like we're copying people. And everyone's starting to look the same, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing. I don't want to be like, it's such a bad thing, everyone looks the same. It's just like, it's just sad. It's just sad that we can't celebrate diversity and love diversity. Like, it's not even something that we can really help because it's systemic. All these problems root from institutionalized or systemic issues, not from the individual person, because we're experiencing the pressure they're imposing on us, and most of it has to do with consumerism culture. Somewhere out there, a rich white man is profiting off of your insecurities. I know this is nothing new that I'm saying, but it's true, so always remind yourself that before you really invest in a beauty product. Is this helping me more, or is this helping the rich white man? Because don't let him win. Another pop culture moment. 2013, the headline reads, Abercrombie & Fitch CEO explains why he hates fat chicks. Sorry, you're excluded from fashion. Your body doesn't deserve to enter the store, not until you juice cleanse yourself. But don't lose the fat where it's sexy, because being too thin is ugly too. So those lines, actually it was funny because Abercrombie is so hard for me to pronounce somehow. I had to go slow and really make sure I enunciated everything because Abercrombie, I don't know why. It was really hard for me. I just will always remember being so shocked to read that. I was never an Abercrombie, Fitch, Hollister kind of girl. I never really walked in there and it smelled really like too perfumey, giving me headaches. The men without shirts on made me feel uncomfortable. They weren't even, when I was a kid, I was like, I've seen better. I don't know if you remember that Jessica Shaw in New York when we saw those boys outside Abercrombie Fitch. I was like, I've seen hotter. I'll never forget that headline because I felt like it was so absurd and really sad, and something important that we're speaking out of inclusivity, including people of all sizes. I always hated Brandy Melville because I'm like, one size fits all? Like, that's not, what? Shout out to people of all body sizes and shapes, because your body is loved and deserves everything and anything. I don't care what anyone says. I just had to basically shit on this man is what I wanted to do. And then I just talk about how the war on our bodies has already been won. I didn't kind of want to make a happy resolution because it's still unwritten. Like, this is gonna go on for way past when I'm gone, and this stuff will still be going on, at least I think. I really do think that this is something that cannot be eradicated, but we can try advocating against it and impacting individuals. Obviously, I want to change the system, but I think the first step is just public awareness, and young girls or boys or whoever, if you're non-binary, growing up knowing that you are not alone in this and that you are beautiful the way you were made, I think is like the main message. Although you can get procedures and that's totally okay, you don't need to at the end of the day, and that's kind of the message I want to give out. I'm not anti-plastic surgery, anti-people altering themselves. I'm anti-pressure to do so. I hope that makes sense, because people can do whatever they want. It's totally okay. All I want to do these days is just breathe, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. Since I started doing yoga, it's been a really good experience to breathe. Like, do it with me. One more time. Maybe we can stand up straighter too. It's important to breathe. Breathe in the body that you were given. Again, can I have my body back? It belongs to be treasured, even though every part of it's been weathered. That was also almost an ode to my survivors out there. It just makes me sick to my stomach how people take advantage of other people. So it was almost a double entendre. I wanted to talk about war on our bodies with plastic surgery, but also talk about how bodies, especially those who have gone through traumatic events or abuse, have been worn out, and it's like, can we just have our bodies back? Can we not be touched or groped or handled by people who we don't want to touch us? I will put down any resources for eating disorder, assault, mental illness side as well. These are all trigger warning topics, but I want to provide a safe space and also list resources so you know that you have someone to go to and you're not alone. Again, can I have my body back? I'm more than just my looks, but beauty withers into shallowness and self-misery and shallowness after everything you took. It's so easy to get wrapped up in your looks and your outer appearance versus your internal self, your soul, your heart, your essence, your being, your psyche. We neglect these things because we're so concerned of how others see us from the outside. When I was 20, I really cared. And I think anyone who knows me at the time would know how I was easily influenced by others and how I cared so much on how cool I looked on the outside that I neglected my well-being on the inside. And it sucks to know like the pain I've caused people, or vice versa, but also just like how I could have loved my family better or cared for my friends better, because we're told in society you will be happy if you look a certain way that you want to look like, and that's not always the case. So that's how I ended it, just as a self-reflection piece that we could all reflect on. How much are we valuing external beauty versus internal beauty? And that's my poem. That was a long explanation. I hope I can cut this down and minimize it because I know it's so long. But if you made it this far, please let me know. I would be so happy if you're interested in this kind of stuff and how I wrote this poem and broke it down. I honestly felt like it was a miracle of me writing it, because I busted this out in a day, which never happens, you know? But I think the spark of passion and just these thoughts I've been carrying for such a long time allowed me to write it out. Obviously it's been refined and tweaked a little bit, but for the most part it was all written in one day. Thank you to Tori, who read it first, and Jacob, my partner, who also read it for me and gave me advice and critique. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you to my literature friends who also read it and supported me through the process of posting it and making it. I did it in one take, but let me tell you, it was not easy. There were many times where I almost got it and then I just didn't like it, or like the way I performed it, or I would just mess up on one word. I'd be like halfway through the poem and mess up, and I'm like, time to redo this. So although it looked like it was probably like a one take wonder, it did take effort. So thank you to all who've watched it. If you haven't seen it yet and you've seen this video and you want to watch it, you can click up here. I think I'll put a card, or down in the description box, or you will see it somewhere on my channel. It's called Can I Have My Body Back? Hi, doggy. Hi, you want to say hi to the camera? It's my old lady dog. Yes, my old sweet girl. My old sweet girl. She's a little Capricorn baby, and she's turning, how old are you turning? Huh? I think she's turning 12 in January 2nd. Congratulations, you are so old. So thanks for watching this video. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.